You run into this type of experience when you get to Huntsville, Alabama. Walk into a Taco Bell with two of my partners and one of my cousins. My cousin Clarence. This nigga was not a thug, a gangster, or nothing. He was a calculus major, engineer type nigga, want to do all that. When we go into Taco Bell, the nigga taking the order, look at the crew and like, y'all ain't from around here, huh? He was like, I'm from Compton. The nigga was like, you ain't from no motherfucking Compton. And then let me see your ID. So my cousin went to show him his ID. When the nigga looked and seen his address, the nigga like, hey, yo, he from Compton. He from Compton. He got ID. He got ID. Everybody, they shut the drive-thru down. Everybody in Taco Bell came out to look at the nigga ID. So, you know, it's kind of hard at 17 not to play into that. Yeah, school in Torrance stopped at 10th grade. I don't know why. I never understood the logic behind that, but so, you know, my mother was invested into Seventh-day Adventist schools in particular, and the only other school available to go to was called Linwood Academy at the time, and it was an all-black school, and like I say, her sister's son and myself, who were only 10 months apart, we were both attracted to the streets life at the same time, and she was making an attempt to separate the both of us. We went to the Torrance school together and was getting into a lot of incidents on the public public bus system, gang affiliated incidents. Went to jail. I went to jail personally for a pistol, like I say. So my mother, the only other school other than going to Linwood with my first cousin that she didn't want me, that she was trying to get me away from because we was getting in too much trouble, was to either go all the way to Orange County, to Orangewood, or either to Glendale Adventist Academy for 11th and 12th grade. So for 11th and 12th grade, I caught the bus to Glendale Adventist Academy. Because I went to the private school, the same way every other school has math, English, every day, we also had a religion class every day. So all through my elementary school, high school, it was part of the regular curriculum to have a religion class, a Bible class. And without any effort, I just seemingly naturally excelled in those subjects. And then I am an orator. I do have the gift of speech. I have an immaculate gift of speech as well as poetry. And I understand literation very well. So in the church environment, with those gifts being exposed, I was pushed into he's a preacher, you're gonna be a preacher. So from a young age, on youth days, I participated as a speaker and had phenomenal response. So in my mind, actually, I'm thinking this is the most natural thing that came to me. It takes the least effort. This is what I'm gonna be. Even though I know it's a list of moral obligations that I really have no idea how I'm gonna fulfill that contract, this is my easy way where I ain't gotta try. So I kind of like allowed myself, and plus it was an overwhelming amount of influence to push me in that direction. So although in high school I wasn't studying with that purpose, I graduated at 17 and left high school with the purpose of going to Huntsville, Alabama to enter, and I actually entered into into a college as a theology major. If you're a Seventh-day Adventist, there's a cultural thing about as far as they have a number of Seventh-day Adventist colleges, but there's only one that's black. And so it's kind of like going to Southern or Grambling. If you're a Seventh-day Adventist and you're black, it's kind of like a hope that your child gets the experience of going to Oakwood, going to an all-black college, but also is Seventh-day Adventist. So my mother in particular was not interested or was not going to be willing to send me to any college other than Oakwood. I was out there specifically, supposedly, to be a theology student, but a nigga I knew that was leaving Compton, driving to Alabama. I flew, he was driving. He took 2 pistols on my behalf. So when I got to Alabama, I had 2 pistols that were registered from California. I got myself caught up in quite a few criminal situations where those pistols became part of the case, and all my crimies were under 20, including myself, and they were all from other parts of the map. I'm the only person from California, and these guns is registered in California. This type of situation, I got myself in Huntsville, Alabama at 17. Had no idea what I was up against. I ended up facing life in prison, 100% guilty of everything I was being charged with. I had like 4 or 5 people writing statements, turn state evidence on me, my crimes. Shout out Kiko Man Shaw from Huntsville, Alabama, the nigga that I rushed in the Robert Neves Children's Center, because I thought he told on me he was my crimey, but he really didn't tell on me, cuz was really a real one. Then when the tables turned, when we was in the county, and he was with his peoples, he could have flipped the script on me, and he didn't. He was a real one. I don't know if Kiko is still alive, but yeah, so I was out there for less than, when you start school in what, August?
Yeah.
Yeah, by November, I was on the run, wasn't allowed on the campus. They was calling my mother in California, the Huntsville Police Department, saying your son is listed as armed and dangerous. Please have him turn himself in, because we can't guarantee you that we can only bring him in alive. And she was calling it, panicking, and not really, you know, she sent me to become a preacher. These are the type of phone calls she getting. So, you know, I was just really, that's the first time I can really document just throwing my life away totally. And the creator of the universe just giving it back. I was actually a minor when it happened. I was 17. And as a minor, you're not allowed to post bail. Someone has to come and take custody of you. I had nobody in Huntsville, Alabama that could fulfill that capacity for me. So I was stuck in the juvenile system until I went to a certification hearing. They chose to certify me as an adult. And when they certified me as an adult, they shot me to the county jail, even though I was 17. And I had a couple of partners out there that my mom was able to send the money to, and they bailed me out because I was considered an adult. But when I was in the juvenile system, you weren't allowed to bail out. So what happened when I bailed out, they gave me a court date for 6 months. And I was only in jail for one incident. It was a firing into an occupied dwelling where allegedly some shot, I mean, it's way over every shit. This shit was in the 90s. But there was some shots fired back and forth, 2 different situations, and there was not a charge based on the people involved in the incident, but because we was out in public, some bullets went into a random house, I was being charged with firing into an occupied dwelling because it was just a random house that got hit. So that's what I was dealing with. 6 months later, I come back to court, Huntsville, Alabama, suit and tie. Walk in, the way it was structured was the court buildings was on the 1st through 6th floor. Their county jail is from the 7th to 10th floor. So if you go to jail in court, ain't no getting no car ride nowhere. You're getting on the elevator going to jail. So I go to court, go in there with my suit on. As soon as I walk in, it's real fast. They're like, oh, we're gonna put you on the next docket for 6 months. Bam, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm out of here. As soon as I walk out into the lobby, some police approach me. Curtis Williams, yes, under arrest, 1st degree armed robbery. I'm like, bam, this is a totally different case that I just flew out here to handle. So now I get one of those 6-month dates to come back to Huntsville, Alabama to go to court. And within those 6 months, I come back to California and go to California prison. And throughout that process, everybody involved in the case took time. The case went away. It'd be a whole nother hour to explain the details of how that shit, I never had to really go see justice on that. The case I went to prison for first, did some bullshit in Torrance once again. Left Torrance, drove. I stopped right at this gas station. Me and my same cousin ended up being from Southside Compton. We stopped at the same gas station. I remember seeing the sheriff drive through the gas station. He had a photo colors, a charcoal gray photo colors. I'm like, and we still got all the hot shit in the car. We just did what we did in Torrance. So I'm like 18. I'm like, my nigga, check this out. That looked funny that car just drove through here like that. He like, man, we did our shits in Torrance. We way in Compton. We done got on the freeway, got off. He said, man, that shit ain't got nothing to do with us. So I'm like, all right. We was on our way to go see some little bitches. So we get on the laundry, going down the laundry. We pass the airport. As soon as we make the right by Miracle Market, it's like 1,000 sheriffs. The whole place just lit up like a movie set. Whoop, whoop, whoop. They had the victim pull up, ideas right there. And I went to prison based on that incident right then, which gave me opportunity to let that shit in Alabama play out to the point where I never had to go do that time. They was offering me 6 years apiece on 3 different Class A felonies that they were gonna run bow leg, meaning 18 years, or if you go to court and get found guilty, life. I got a letter one day, I was in Supermax, and when I'm thinking I'm receiving a letter that's really written to me, it was a letter that the bail bondsman from Huntsville, Alabama had sent to the judge, guaranteeing him that He didn't know where I was when my court date came up, but he's located me in the California judicial system, and I have 2 years to serve. And at the end of those 2 years, it's all his plans to bring me back to see that. And he was sending me a copy of the letter to let me know that he has put Huntsville, Alabama on notice that he's located me and what his intentions are about bringing me to justice. So I knew it was hanging over my head while I was on my way to go do this bid. So when I get to Avenal, which is the level 2 prison, a lower level prison in California, you know, just chopping it up with niggas, I'm letting them know my situation. Niggas advise me, it's some shit you could, I don't remember the name of the kind of write-up, but I attempted to write out through my counsel to reach out to Alabama and tell them, you gotta either come get me and take me to court in 6 months or that shit is over with. So it's a process that should initiate to know whether they are gonna concur, but they never responded. So I went all the way to my parole date under the understanding that this is what niggas that have been to prison prior to me was telling me. You can get all the way to reception. That means they'll call your name in the unit for release, you'll get out to the reception, you'll be sitting in that holding tank thinking you about to go home, and everybody else that's getting released, you guys will go through a whole process together, and up until the last part of that process, which is getting your gate money, you might not know that there's somebody's coming to extradite you. So even on my release date, as exciting and happy as you want it to be, not to the last minute was I really realizing I was going home, because I'm thinking this Alabama shit finna pop up. They never got back at me. So I got my dress out. The key word was, if they give you your gate money, and for those that don't know, when you get parole from California State Prison, you get $200. Like, it's like pass and go in Monopoly. Like, you back in life, it go 200. So they telling me that if somebody's coming to extradite you, you'll know, because they're not gonna hand you that 200. And then you know I'm fucked, because my last name is Williams. So anytime they go in alphabetical order, you last. And it seemed like the way just irony happened, they call everybody from A up into W in quick succession to get their dress outs. Adams, he get his. Jones. Then they call 6, 7 people, and then all of a sudden the bitch find 10 tasks to do before she calls Williams. So I thought then I was fucked, because they call everybody for their dress outs except me, and I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, that's shit, I'm not finna go home. Then she finally say, Williams, I get my dress outs, but now you have to wait on the gate money. I got the gate money, I'm home, I'm out. Me and the homie Lil Ant, we in traffic from my hood. Get blurped up, I couldn't have been out a month yet. Get blurped up, I'm fresh out the pen. The police pull us over, they letting Lil Ant go, telling me I'm going to jail for an Alabama warrant. I'm like, cuz, I just paroled from prison. I think I still had like my state ID. I'm like, look, well, I can't handle. They like, man, I don't know what to tell you, you got an Alabama warrant. So I go to the county jail. When I go to court, the lawyer come back there, she say, look, you got 2 options. You can fight Alabama's right to extradite you, which means that the governor will set you a court date, which will be 90 days out. And within that 90 days, he will review all the details of your case and determine whether or not Alabama has the right to come extradite you. She said, or the other option is you can fight your right to being extradited, and that gives Alabama 10 days to come get you, or they gotta let you go. She said, however, if that's what happens, you'll still have the warrant and you can keep bumping into this process over and over again. I'm like, fuck it, tell them 10 days, come get me. So I'm expecting to be called back to court somewhere close to it or within a 10-day range. But however, I get called back to court early morning in the county the very next day. When I get to the court, the lawyer tell me that Alabama refused to extradite. I don't want to put no extras on it, but I believe in the back of my mind she said for the reason was insufficient funds. I don't know why that's in my memory, but I can't really attest to that. But they refused to extradite, and I've never heard of the case ever again. I went back to prison in California for a whole nother beef, parole, satisfied parole, but the Alabama issues never ever came up again.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.